I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. Ivanka Trump, Don Jr., Eric Trump, they're all being called out by the New York Attorney General Letitia James in a letter to the judge, Justice Arthur Engoron, who's presiding over the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case against Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, and Donald Trump's adult children, where the New York Attorney General is seeking at least $250 million in damages, as well as an injunction which would effectively stop all of those civil defendants from engaging in further business in the state of New York. In a letter sent to Justice Arthur Engoron, New York Attorney General Letitia James states that Trump's kids seem to not be turning over records and documents and emails and text messages in their custody and control. They could potentially be trying to have covered up these documents, intentionally destroyed these documents, but there are serious questions about the way they've been handling materials that are relevant to the New York Attorney General's case. And the New York Attorney General's not having it anymore, so the New York Attorney General's office sent this letter to Justice Arthur Engoron, and the judge responded as well and gave a very strict deadline for Donald Trump's adult children, as well as all of the Trump organizations, and for Donald Trump to respond to the court with certifications under penalty of perjury that they've complied with their discovery obligations, but more significantly, knowing that the Trumps lie about essentially everything, to set forth all of the devices, all of the cell phones, all of the email addresses, all of the computers that Donald Trump, his adult children, their various entities have used for the past 12 or so years, dating back to 2011. So let's turn to this New York Attorney General letter to Justice Engoron. And in this letter, it states that the Office of the Attorney General writes to seek court resolution of an issue necessitated by the upcoming close of fact discovery. Specifically, the Office of the Attorney General is asking the court to enter a proposed order that basically will force the defendants, in this case, Donald Trump and his adult children, to respond to whether or not they are complying with their discovery obligations. The letter goes on to say, among the more significant issues addressed in our letter was an unexplained drop-off in emails for Ivanka Trump between 2014 and 2017. This issue was first raised shortly after the filing of the complaint in this action. As the Office of Attorney General informed counsel for Ms. Trump and the Trump Organization on September 23, 2022, it appears that there is a significant drop in the number of emails produced for Ms. Trump starting in or around October 2014. In the first 9 months of 2014, Ms. Trump is on average of 1,218 emails per month. That drops to just 299 emails in October 2014, with an average of 242 emails through December 2015. In 2016, she averages just 37 emails per month. Not only have defendants failed to offer any substantive response to this inquiry, but there have been no documents produced by Ms. Trump. Let's be clear, there have been no documents produced by Ms. Trump. The letter goes on to then talk about Don Jr. and Eric. The February 2nd letter also identified issues with respect to 1. The collection and preservation of devices used by Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, and Donald Trump Jr. 2. Searches of cloud storage locations. 3. Preservation of documents shared through web portals. And 4. Preservation of devices used by the Trump Organization accounting department. After limited back and forth with counsel for Ivanka Trump and other defendants over the intervening months, OAG, the Office of Attorney General, highlighted these requests again on March 23, 2023. Defendants did not respond to those inquiries until April 12, 2023, when Reed Feigl, former counsel for Ivanka Trump, wrote seeking, quote, a prompt meet and confer between, at a minimum, your office and our firm to discuss the scope of your document request as it relates to Ms. Trump. The Office of Attorney General responded via email on Friday, April 14th, outlining the issues yet again and proposing a meet and confer the following Monday. Feigl, Ivanka's lawyer, never responded, and instead, on April 17, 2023, withdrew his appearance. So Ivanka Trump's lawyer stated, hey, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the scope of your requests. Let's meet. And then the Office of Attorney General in New York said, okay, let's meet. And then Feigl, Ivanka's lawyer, withdrew from the case and said, I'm not the lawyer anymore. She brought in a new lawyer, Ben Meiselas, who's the new lawyer. But again, more delay. The letter goes on to say, finally, on Wednesday, April 19th, the remaining defendants, Eric Trump and Don Jr., wrote to the Office of Attorney General in response to, quote, recent correspondence. Among the issues raised in that letter, defendants wrote, as to the gaps in production relative to Ivanka Trump, we have notified Reed Feigl and understand Mr. Feigl has engaged with you directly. This came 31 hours after Feigl withdrew from the case. Defendants also wrote, we are also working to respond to your questions relating to the other gaps in production identified in your letter, and we're willing to meet and confer. Then finally, this letter says, Judge, the time to meet and confer has long since passed. The Office of Attorney General, we've been working diligently. We pursued these issues for months. Defendants, and specifically here, yes, there's other portions of the letter that talk about Donald Trump and the Trump Organization, but here, Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Don Jr. Have either ignored the inquiries, provided non-substantive responses, or passed the buck to counsel who have withdrawn from the case, who are no longer engaged in the case. So, Judge, the fairest and simplest way to resolve these issues is for defendants to provide sworn certificates detailing the processes they followed for preserving, searching, and producing documents in response to the Office of Attorney General discovery notices. The certification should include details on records and all devices that no longer exist. The proposed order contemplates a compliance affidavit from both the Trump Organization and each of the individual defendants. So the Office of Attorney General, Letitia James, just said, okay, enough's enough. Every time we try to get these documents for them or say what's going on, we get some message from a lawyer and the lawyers say, all right, let's meet about it. Let's talk about it. Then we set up a time to meet and then they either ignore us or they don't provide a response, and that's enough. Judge, you need to get involved. And yes, the judge did get involved. And Justice Arthur Engoron adopted these certificates of compliance. And this is what the judge is requesting as it relates to the individual defendants, including Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, and Don Jr., the following. By May 15, 2023, each individual defendant shall submit a compliance affidavit detailing every device used for communications with or on behalf of the Trump Organization concerning the business of the Trump Organization during the period from 2011 to the present. 2. Every email address, telephone number, or other electronic account used for communication with the Trump Organization or concerning the business of the Trump Organization during the period from 2011 to the present. 3. Whether each of those devices identified in item 3.1 and 3.2 were searched for responsive documents. 4. What search terms or other means were used to conduct any search of the devices and accounts identified in items 3.1 and 3.2. And 5. If any devices or accounts identified in items 3.1 and 3.2 were not retained or searched, what efforts were undertaken to preserve or locate those devices or accounts. So by May 15th, Ivanka, Don Jr., and Eric let the court know, under penalty of perjury, every single email address you've ever used since 2011. Let the court know every single cell phone you've ever owned since 2011. Let the court know every single laptop, hard drive, desktop, computing device that you've used since 2011 to the present. And then what efforts have you made to search all of those devices? What search terms have you used? And if those devices no longer exist, what efforts did you make to preserve them? Why do they no longer exist? Where are they right now? Why did you destroy them? And what is going on with them? So this is a very detailed inquiry that the court is demanding they all respond to by May 15th. And we'll see what they respond. But if they act the way their father does, and it appears that they absolutely do, I think we all know that they do. I don't think that's a question. They're going to just dig the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, because there's a reason their lawyers have not been responding to the discovery requests, right? Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is often the correct one here. They are trying to clearly hide things. They do not want to be forthcoming with these things. It's the exact same tricks that their dad deploys, that Donald Trump deploys, and they're being called out. Their feet are being held to the fire by the New York Attorney General's office and by Justice Arthur Engoron. So what do they say? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, here, the poisonous fascist apple does not fall far from the poisonous fascist tree. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers with your incredible support. Hit subscribe now. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We've got a lot of great content there. Wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. It's free, and hit subscribe on YouTube. It is also free. And have a great day.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.